Good morning, everyone. I'm Eric James. It is Thursday, October 4th.
Well, the secret is no more the nation knows about the things that go on at Claiborne Fundamental Magnet School.
About what's behind these visits.
Well, Jody, he's making these visits for several reasons. You could say the state superintendent, in a way, is checking up on himself, making sure the changes he has made are being implemented.
Good evening again from our nation's capital. In order for a school to receive a National Blue Ribbon Award, it must dramatically improve test scores in the area of reading and mathematics. And at least 40% of the student population comes from disadvantaged backgrounds. But Sabrina Anderson didn't care about any of her children's backgrounds because she says it's not about where they come from, it's about where they're going. And she is trying to help them exceed expectations at Oak Park Micro Society School.
Boys and girls, need you to kind of calm down for me. Model the expectations. I'm counting the children who are modeling those expectations. Put your hoods on your head. It's cool.
Model the expectations, a phrase Sabrina Anderson repeats multiple times a day.
When you see me, you're being a good citizen. You're modeling the expectations that have been set in that classroom. You're being respectful to every adult on this campus. And when I say every adult, I mean every teacher, every paraprofessional, every custodial worker, every cafeteria worker, every bus driver. Everybody, no matter what job they may have out here, deserves respect.
Anderson laid out her expectations for Oak Park 5 years ago. She started with her teaching staff. A year later, for those who didn't meet her expectations, she fired them.
It was difficult. It was difficult, but I knew it was something that I had to do. It was new for me. Never staffed a school. I mean, from scratch. I would say everybody, custodial staff, cafeteria staff, I had to start over. That was a new experience for me. It was a difficult experience because I had to interview everybody, and some were allowed to stay and some were not.
With a new set of rules and teaching guidelines in place, Anderson set her sights on test scores.
I always said, as soon as I came here, at my first staff meeting, the first community meeting, this academically unacceptable is going to be history.
Oak Park was one of the worst performing schools in the district and in one of the poorest neighborhoods. But none of that mattered to Anderson.
High expectations, very high. Expect the best. If you expect the best, you'll receive the best. Model what it is you expect.
But there would be days when Anderson wondered if her expectations were too high for Oak Park. After all, others before her failed, and the state was about to take the school over. But then Anderson said she remembered why she wanted to be a teacher.
Praying. I had to pray about it.
And from that point on, she has not given up on those expectations.
Education reporter Eric James joining us now with a closer look at that. So, Eric, what are they saying?
Well, guys, the response depends on what school you go to and which kids you ask. In this case, we went to Parkway High School, where more than 75% of students there eat lunch on campus.
Get them in and get them out is the motto at the Parkway High School Cafe.
Pretty varietable, I guess. I like nachos the best.
From burgers to pizza to fries to fruit cups and even a heaping helping of spaghetti.
It's great.
It's good. It's good.
Every day, hundreds of students file through the line and get what may be the most nutritious meal of the day without knowing it. You see these burgers, well, they are soy burgers. The pizza crust, it's whole wheat. These fries, they're baked. In fact, the district no longer fries anything.
I mean, I come from workouts every day, and it satisfies my hunger pretty well. I'm a pretty hungry guy.
But students in other states aren't responding the same way. These students in New Jersey recently boycotted lunch.
I know I gave up on food months ago.
And over 700,000 people have watched this YouTube video of some students in Kansas who say they're still hungry after lunch. Under the new federal regulations, cafeterias are required to serve twice as many fruits and vegetables while limiting proteins and carbohydrates. Some say it's not enough, others say it's just not what kids want to eat, but they didn't talk to the kids at Parkway High School.
And yes, they say their Parkway Cafe rocks. There are a lot of new rules when it comes to what can be sold even during the school day. Kids can no longer sell those candy bars they use for fundraisers to each other during the school year. Now, these rules were partially put into place because 1 out of every 4 adolescents are too overweight to join the military, according to a new study. And guys, there is also a new study that finds that kids are throwing away more food than ever before because they just aren't fans of these healthier options.
Yeah, I've seen video of kids throwing away the fruit cups.
Yes, exactly.
Even.
No more square pizzas.
No.
The square.
I always
Am I
think the
dating
cinnamon rolls, but
myself,
you know
I
me.
think? They don't have those anymore? Another round? Okay,
No,
I
they
know.
don't, Jody.
All right.
Thanks, Eric.
From the moment you hear their voice in song, their hands raised and their heads bowed, you would never know this church is actually not in a church. It's in a Bossier Parish school.
When we walk into the building, it's a gymnasium, but when the people gather in, it becomes a sanctuary for the presence of God.
Carlton Gilmore is the pastor of New Beginnings Christian Fellowship and Outreach.
For our first week, we started with just 3 or 4 people sitting around a table at Starbucks.
In a matter of a few short months, the church outgrew the Starbucks and the space they were renting at a Ramada Inn.
It heard through the Bossier Parish school system that they made their schools available.
That is how New Beginnings got a new beginning. And they aren't the only ones.
Civic organizations, churches, what have you, can actually use our facilities.
School liaison Sonia Bell says the district's decision to rent out its space is something they have done for years, and there are very few Sundays that go by when someone isn't holding service at a school.
No organization can come here and exclude any certain race or religion or party affiliation. It's open to everybody.
Bell says the district sees this as a community service. There is also a very tangible benefit.
It's a win-win for everybody and advantageous to the taxpayers of Bossier Parish because not only do they come in to utilize our space and pay for usage of that space, but in many cases they'll also make needed improvements that we otherwise would have to make.
Gilmore feels the same way.
I don't have a building payment that keeps me awake at night.
What he does have is a budding church membership, one that includes families who have children that already attend Stockwell Elementary. Eric James, KTBS 3 News.
Such a great idea. I had no idea they did this.
And it's really actually pretty popular. The district has been doing it for a number of years, which actually leads us to our question for today for Ask the Teacher. Or someone wrote us overnight and asked, does Caddo Parish schools also do this? And the answer is yes, they do. Really? Several of the school districts in this area do this as well. They consider it a civic obligation to do this. This morning, a teenager is in custody after an attempted home invasion in southeast Shreveport. It happened at the Southfield Apartments on Southfield Road near Kings. Police say 17-year-old Gunnar Hendricks tried to force his way into an apartment by hitting the resident, but the resident was able to shut the door. They say the suspect ran to the back of the apartment, stuck a gun through a window, and tried to rob the victim. The confrontation continued outside, and that's where Hendricks was caught. Police say they recovered a high-powered rifle at the scene. The victim only suffered minor injuries. A woman is in jail this morning accused of stabbing her husband. It all took place just after 8 last night on Lash Street. That's off Hollywood and Linwood in Shreveport. Investigators say the woman seriously injured her husband, but his injuries are not life-threatening. He went to the hospital. She went to jail for aggravated battery and domestic abuse. CenturyLink workers in 13 western states have voted to strike if union leaders can't reach a new contract with a communications company. The union and the Monroe-based company are trying to reach a new contract for 13,000 workers who formerly worked for Quest Communications. Officials in Shreveport and Bossier City are asking residents to join together for their Night Out Against Crime. The event is scheduled for tonight in Bossier City and Shreveport. In Shreveport, there will be a launch event at MLK Drive at 5 o'clock this evening. Bossier City will launch its event at Hooter Park and Barksdale Annex beginning at 6 p.m. And while local residents prepare for tonight's street parties, police will use the event as a stepping stone to fight crime. New this morning, KTBS 3's Chris Arnold takes a look at where the crime rate stands on both sides of the red.
2011 was a banner year for the Shreveport Police Department.